One tiny ant, one giant adventure. Arlo is a small, curious ant with shiny black eyes and strong, determined legs. He lives in a bustling anthill beneath an old oak tree. Though he's tiny, Arlo has a big heart and an even bigger imagination. He loves exploring, solving problems, and helping his friends. His favorite thing is finding new foods to bring back to his colony, and he never gives up, no matter how hard the journey. One sunny morning, Arlo the ant woke up with a rumbling tummy. The food storage inside the nest was empty. "I must find food," he said. Arlo stepped outside and saw tall grass that looked like giant trees. Even though he was small, Arlo was very brave. He walked between the big blades of grass. It felt like walking through a forest. Soon, he found a curled-up leaf lying on the ground. He climbed over it and tiptoed past a sleeping beetle, trying not to make a sound. He kept walking slowly, enjoying the path between the tall grass, until he reached a warmer, more open spot. The ground felt warm under his tiny feet, and the air smelled like flowers. Arlo sniffed the air, hoping to find a crumb or two. Then he spotted a tiny speck of flour on the ground. Just as he reached it, a breeze blew it away. Arlo felt a little sad. His tummy growled again, but he took a deep breath and said, "That's okay. I'll keep looking." He kept walking with spirit, taking small steps one by one. Not far from the tree, in a sunny open field, Arlo reached a bright yellow dandelion. He climbed up its stem all the way to the soft petals. There, he found some golden pollen, just enough for a small bite. But before he could grab it, the wind blew hard and shook the flower. The pollen flew away like dust in the sky. Arlo held on tightly and laughed. "So close," he said with a big grin, and carefully climbed down the stem. Back on the ground, Arlo didn't give up. His tummy still rumbled, but his heart stayed strong. "I'll keep looking," he whispered, and with brave little steps he continued his search, through grass, around rocks, and over tiny twigs. Not far away, Arlo spotted a large breadcrumb lying on the ground. His eyes lit up with excitement. It could feed many ants, and he knew it was an important find. He rushed over, eager to bring it back to the colony. The crumb was bigger than anything Arlo had ever seen. He gave it a little push. It was heavy, but he didn't give up. "I'll break it into smaller pieces along the way," he thought to himself. As Arlo pushed the crumb, he couldn't push the crumb anymore. Something was wrong. A shiny puddle of dew was in the way. The water was slippery, and the crumb wouldn't slide over it. Arlo stopped and thought, not sure what to do next. Arlo stopped for a moment, thinking if he should go back. But then he remembered his mission. He had to bring the crumb back for the colony. "I can do this," he said aloud, gathering courage. Then Arlo saw a leaf floating nearby. He had an idea. He climbed onto the leaf and gently placed the crumb on it too. Using the leaf like a little boat, he slowly crossed the slippery puddle. When he reached the other side, he let out a big sigh of relief. On the other side of the puddle, the ground was covered in soft, squishy moss. Arlo tried to push the crumb onto it, but the crumb got stuck. The moss was too thick, and the crumb wouldn't move. Feeling stuck, Arlo called for help. Soon, a group of his ant friends arrived. Together, they formed a line and worked together, pushing and pulling with all their strength. Slowly but surely, they carefully pulled the crumb free from the moss. With the crumb finally free, Arlo and his friends continued their journey toward the colony. Suddenly, a beetle appeared, its shiny black shell sparkling in the sunlight. The ants stopped, their little legs shaking as they held onto the crumb they'd worked so hard to move. The beetle stood over them, quietly watching. The ants were scared it might take their crumb and leave them with nothing for the colony. But Arlo, the smallest yet bravest among them, stepped forward. He cleared his throat and spoke politely. "Please let us pass. This is for our colony. They're waiting for us." The beetle blinked and tilted its head. After a long moment, it nodded and slowly stepped aside. The ants cheered softly and quickly moved past. their hearts racing with relief. Just as they were leaving, the beetle called out, "Next time, maybe bring a crumb for me too?" Arlo smiled and shouted back, "Deal!" And from that day on, the beetle became an unexpected friend, guarding the trail instead of blocking it. Not long after, the ants reached a sunny, open space. Red berries lay scattered on the ground like tiny jewels. Arlo's eyes sparkled. "Look!" he squeaked. "Treasure!" He ran ahead and took a small bite of one. It was sweet and juicy. His antennae wiggled with joy. The other ants quickly joined him, tearing the berries into small pieces and carefully placing them on top of the crumb. It became a colorful mountain of treats. "Wait until the colony sees this," said Arlo, his heart full of pride. Excited to share their find, they continued their journey. But trouble wasn't over yet. A bird suddenly hopped into the clearing, pecking around for food. The ants gasped. "Hide," whispered Arlo. They scrambled underneath the crumb and held their breath. The bird pecked near them, then flapped its wings and flew away, never noticing the tiny travelers below. The ants breathed a sigh of relief, their hearts pounding. "That was close," whispered one. "But we're almost there," Arlo said, steadying the crumb. After crossing a small stream and climbing over roots, they finally saw the familiar shape of their hill. The colony was waiting. The ants cheered as they came back, the crumb shining with bits of berries. "You've done something special," said the queen. "You brought home more than food. You brought joy." Arlo felt proud and warm inside. That night, the whole colony ate until they were full. The next morning, Arlo woke up with excitement in his heart. "Today we'll find flower nectar," he announced. With his friends cheering behind him, they marched out of the nest, their eyes wide with excitement. All around them, colorful flowers danced in the breeze, as if welcoming the little explorers. They followed a tiny path through tall grass and shiny leaves. After walking for a while, they reached a quiet meadow hidden behind the trees. There, they found blue flowers sparkling with dewdrops. Arlo gently picked a wide leaf and shaped it like a tiny cup. Carefully, he caught the drops one by one. Arlo tasted a drop. It wasn't just water, but sweet nectar from the flower's heart. Just then, a group of grasshoppers bounced over. They looked curious and cheerful. "Want to help?" Arlo asked. The grasshoppers nodded. While the ants gathered the dew, the grasshoppers shook the flowers gently, making tiny drops fall like rain. By evening, the team returned to the nest with sweet nectar collected from the dew. The whole colony cheered. The queen smiled kindly. "You were amazing," she said warmly. That night, Arlo fell asleep with a big smile, dreaming about the next great adventure tomorrow might bring.